Okay, in this short video I'm going to show you how to migrate your data from a PostgreSQL database up to AWS Aurora and from a CSV file up to AWS Aurora. So the prerequisites are you need FME desktop. To get that, just go to safe.com and click on the get your free trial link. You can trial FME desktop completely for free. It's the full version and you get it for 30 days. So if you need to do a one-time bulk load into AWS Aurora, then you can just use the trial to do that bulk load. So download that. You also need to have launched Aurora instance, obviously. So go into RDS dashboard and choose Aurora and provision an instance. Okay. So what we're going to do is a very simple database replication of a PostgreSQL database, which is running on RDS, but it could be on premises as well, and we're going to move that over to Aurora. So let's click on New here, and we're going to go on Generate Workspace. And these two boxes are where we're going to go from and where we're going to go to. So we're going to go from Postgres. So note here though, we support over 350 formats, so Oracle's supported, SQL Server, they're all there. So you can basically not just go from Postgres, DynamoDB, Redshift. You can move data to and from anywhere. And the writer we've got is actually MySQL or MariaDB, and that's because Aurora has a MySQL interface, so we don't actually have an Aurora writer. You can just use the MySQL writer. So just make sure that password's right. And then we're just going to bring across a few tables. If you go in here, you can see all of the tables within the schema that I want to bring across. OK, click OK. And so this sets the workspace up for me, showing where my data's from on the left, Postgres, and going to on the right. And I can run this now and it'll start loading my data. We'll just look in the writer, so you could actually, you could start to rename this if you wanted. So this would change the name of the table. In Aurora, you can truncate the table first. As you can choose how many you load in at any one time. We're doing 1,000. You can even rename attributes in here, so you have complete control over what your data looks like in Aurora. It doesn't have to be what it looks like in Postgres. You can do cleanup in here. So you can see the data's being loaded across here now. It shows you kind of in real time where the load is. That's essentially it. Yeah, you could read from Aurora as well. So if you wanted to pull data out of Aurora, you could add an Aurora reader and migrate data into your on-premises deployment that way as well. So the next thing I want to show you is how we're going to go from a CSV file. So this is we've done database. CSV files, a little bit more tricky to work with. And the other thing is, the data structure in a CSV file isn't necessarily at the level of what we'd want to see in a database. So we might have to do some validation. We might have to do some tidy up. We might have to do some, removal of tables and fields and things like that. So we're going to use a CSV file that we downloaded off the New York Open Data platform, and it's all of the 311 service requests for 2009. So it's about 900 megabyte data set, and FME has lots of nice tools to help me bring that CSV data in. You just enter a delimiter, so it could be tab or pipe. In this case I know it's comma, and then it works out the type, it works out the width, and it creates all of the field headings for me. So that's good, that looks good. And then I'm going to once again go into my Aurora database. So I'm going to click OK now, and again FME builds the workflow. It's from the CSV file going into the CSV on the right. Well, I don't want it to call it CSV, I want it to be 2009 311 calls in New York City. Also, maybe I don't want these fields to be called this. So you can change any of the fields in here, so they can, you can change them in bulk using another method as well, but I'm just doing it manually here. So you can change these fields, so you don't have to replicate what's in the CSV file. That isn't necessarily correct and right, so we give you the opportunity to manipulate the data there. Again, let's truncate the table first, or if we don't truncate, we're in append mode, so we can be in append mode, sure. Actually, let's truncate. So the other thing we might want to do is add what's called transformers, so we can do things like we could trim attributes. So maybe there's padding around some of the data in the CSV file. Well, that's not, we don't want that in the database. So let's trim these 3 fields and make sure any data in those fields have the trim basically down to nothing on both sides. We also know that the date format's wrong. We don't want the date to be formatted as it is in the database. We want to control that the created date and the closed date are structured correctly. So we're going to choose those. We'll get FME to read automatic detection, and we're going to go to ISO date. We don't want the time anymore. Click OK, and so you see we're doing this data cleanup, allowing us to have complete control over the state of the data when it ends up in Aurora. And again, I need to just do my mapping here because the school name and number, I changed the name on. So that's it. I can run this now, and I can bulk load my 800 megabytes of CSV data, from that file up into Aurora, and you can see how fast it goes. I'm already at 6,000 features. So now that data's in Aurora, I'm ready to go. As I say, again, we could do this with Excel, we could do it with Microsoft Access, we could do this with DynamoDB. We have 370 readers. You can also connect to web services to pull data into Aurora as well.